Let's do it. Guys, welcome to another episode of Virtuous Talks. I am actually here with one of the greats, the main character of the story, great guy, very intelligent, wanted to be a voice actor, so he just pretty much just took over the project and did an awesome, phenomenal job. I'm talking about the great Cato. That's right, guys, the one and only Cato/Cato. I said it two different ways because there's going to be a whole thing about it later on in one of the seasons. But anyway, Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Cliff. Thank you.
And of course, now before we get into it, guys, if you have not listened to one episode, let alone like the first episode, please stop listening to this right now. Go listen to those first. And then come back and listen to us because we're going to talk about a few things that may spoil the story for you. So let's get that out of the way first. And then after that, let's jump into it. Ben, now, me and you, of course, we've known each other for quite some while. And, I know how you came about this project. You know how you came about this project.
Sure.
Will you please tell the listeners how you first got involved with the Virtuous Artists?
Yeah, man. So I guess from my recollection, at least, which it can be spotty. I apologize for that, but it's essentially I'd been really interested in taking on some sort of voice role, and I've been kind of looking everywhere. I'd like started getting equipment, and I really wanted to do this, and every time that I talked to Cliff or saw Cliff post something, it was always, he was writing these stories, he was working on RPGs, and just all I saw was this flow of creativity constantly coming out of the guy. And so I knew, and you got to think about it. It's literally exactly what somebody who's aspiring to be a voice actor needs to be connected with. It's the person who's generating the content with which a voice actor can try to breathe life into, and that's really what I wanted to do. And so I approached Cliff one time, when we were talking, and I was like, hey man, if you ever need anything, if you ever have any characters at all that need voice, you tell me, and I will be there, and we can work this out.
And boy, did he fuck up, because I went home right into there. I was like, bet.
Dude, you went hard, man. You went hard, for sure. I was not prepared, but I'm more than happy to be a part of it, so this has been great.
Thank you, and you did. You brought, Ben, you brought, like, Cato to life, and just an accurate title as well. Let's not forget about him and the relationship between you and Antra. It's awesome. It's great chemistry all throughout the series, like so far. And even in the first episode, it's amazing. So
thanks, man.
I'm just glad that you actually got on and wanted to, of course, because I mean you're so talented. It's crazy.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. So are you, dude.
No problem. Oh, stop it. So, first, I gotta ask you, because this is gonna be unique to you, because your character is very big. Is how does it feel being the major focus in Virtuous Talks right now?
Oh man,
you're in the middle of everything. So how does that feel?
Oh man, well, for one, I don't feel nearly worthy to be central in this story. I was thinking along the lines of, I thought I'd be like a cart pushing guy, like, oh sir, your cabbages, I was thinking it would be something like that, but no, Cliff's like, let's put this guy as the central role, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm all about it. I am, I'm here for it. So, but man, it's really cool, and I'm just doing my best to give the right vibe, right? I'm trying to make sure that I embody this in the way that a main character should, and so that's all I feel is the need to just try even harder,
Oh, dude, and you do it because there's so many good scenes. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but first, before we get into that, tell us like within the first episode, which is basically like you got up to the point where you guys are basically you found out about the syndicate, so you're about to go investigate what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But that entails the conversation between you and Edgar Tidewell, you going to see Jake at Beltec. How did you prepare for the role of Cato? Like what helped you, or what did you do to kind of get into the role? Because you just did it. I mean, spot on. Spot on.
Oh man. Well, I mean, as far as Cato goes, that's I guess the same guy that I have in my head whenever I'm playing an RPG, right? Like it's a version of me that's better. It's the guy that I could have been if I wasn't born on the real world. I could have, So that's just I've been developing that mental image for most of my gaming career. So yeah, I don't know. That one was easy to step into, I guess. The really, it just I don't know. As far as him, it's just it literally is just trying to reaching deeper into myself, into that level of fantastical.
Okay, great. Now tell me, because you and Will, of course, y'all have been friends for like forever.
Yeah.
And I did the interview with him, and he kind of spoke on it. But tell me a little bit more about the chemistry between Cato and Andro, like when you guys were doing this, because you guys were in the studio together, and, and it wasn't like in the studio together, but you guys were in the same place recording.
Oh yeah.
How did that work out for you, and how did that help?
Oh, that was that was just like hanging out with your best friend, as it were, like we're just it's so easy to vibe with Will, just because he's we've been doing it for so long. We met early college, and it's just always been we've always held just interesting conversation, and so it's really easy to be given a prompt between me and him and just work with it, and so yeah, no, chemistry is super easy when it comes to working with him. It was a great time. We were still getting a lot of the stuff ready in the studio, so it was all very prototype kind of stage, and working through it with him was really a pleasure. It just was. It took away that like fear of what I'm doing, because I'm no longer just going off into the unknown by myself trying to figure everything out. I've got my good friend here with me, and we're working through it at the same time, and it's a good time. We're having fun. So
that's now and talk more about that. How, like, when you guys sat down and did the scene, like, in the office and then with Edgar Tidewell, like, how is that? Because you had to switch between two different people.
Right.
You did it perfectly. Like, everybody from, like, the early soft launch of this was like, yo, like, who's Edgar Tidewell? This guy's, like, he's the guy to watch for it. And then on top of that, they're like, like, Ben was doing some real acting. I was like, I know, that's Ben. He's a real voice actor.
Oh man, I don't know.
Tell us more about that scene.
So I mean, okay, so I did record them separately. So like we did, it was it was me and Will, so it was Cato and Andro, and we did that back and forth first, and then I went back, and then I did the Edgar Tidewell stuff, and so at that point it was really just taking the keywords that you had given us in the dialogue, and we're seeing words like syndicate, and we're seeing just really the world that's being painted here. Edgar just to me sounded like this guy that's seen some stuff and been around some things, and so he doesn't he's going to be contemptuous for these young private eyes, these private investigator. He's going to be like he's not going to truly respect them, but he's still going to have these conversations in a way that makes him feel superior, and so that's kind of what I was going for.
And can I just say, man, like, you did that so well, because you made that voice to where he's like talking to them, but he's talking over them, obviously, and he just lets them know, like, you're pathetic, you're beneath.
Right.
It's such a good voice. It's like, oh my gosh, this is real.
Thanks, man.
I do that. That's one of my favorite scenes while editing. Is that because that just shows the dynamic of one, you and Andro, but also you between playing your character of Cato and playing the character of Edgar Tidewell, because it was just two very different spectrums, and you just nailed it.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Really key. And then so my other question is, how do you feel about the world that your characters are in as it is now? In terms of how did you feel about going from the detective office to Veltec Solutions? What do you think about the world around you?
Oh man,
around your character?
It seems so I guess fast paced. The world seems to operate in this it seems futuristic, because it feels exactly like what we see in other media, where everybody kind of gets in this mode of we're doing it right now. We're trying to get what we want done, and it just feels very futuristic in that everyone's kind of about themselves and handling what they need to handle and doing it right now. And I don't know. I really enjoy that kind of setting, and I love exploring it. It seems really, really interesting to me, for sure.
That's what's up. Now, to go further into your characters, of course, what do you like most about Cato so far that you've played into him? What do you think is how do you feel about the character?
I like the dynamic. I like the duality of what he's got going on, because at the same time that he's this more or less lawful good, okay, we got to get some stuff done, whatever, me and my buddy, we got to get some stuff done. But for the most part, we're handling business, and we're doing it in the, the way that, the best way we can without getting ourselves in trouble. But also, he's got this sordid past, and it's he's working really hard to see, to kind of keep that low key, and it's what is that? What's going on? And so I like that. I like that he's got more than one thing going on. I like the layers to the character.
That's what's up. Okay. And how does that, when you sit there and you play that, or you talk about his duality and what he's got going on, how does that influence you when you play the character? When you're talking to Andro, or you're just talking to just normal characters, some of the other people you talked to in episode 1, like Jay, things like that, how does that prepare you for how you should approach him? Do you approach it differently, or do you just okay, I think I have this mindset generally of how I want him to react, let me go, or do you react differently to whoever you're talking to?
It definitely depends on the subject matter, because I guess I feel like someone in his position is going to be very very easy to talk to people, and can kind of shoot the shit off the top. We can have basic whatever conversation, and there's nothing to worry about. But it's when he's dealing with people that are close to him, and that he's dealing with information that kind of pertains to what he doesn't want to talk about. He starts to tighten up a little bit. He gets a little more stern, and he's it becomes something else where it's like, okay, well, we're not just on this happy, we're BSing right now kind of conversation. No, this is like, hey, let's either not talk about this at all, or I'm gonna. Hang on, 1 second, my bad.
Oh, that's okay.
Or he's just he's either trying to avoid it, or he's trying to do his best to play it, to low key it, so that it doesn't seem suspicious, I guess.
Okay. All right. Now, and here's the big question, because, of course, this is going to be a two-part interview, guys. So one of the other questions I'm going to ask you before we jump into episode 2, and they have to log off for next time, is what do you see as far as like episode 1, which I've kind of described what happens in that first episode for you. And guys at home, the only reason why I'm doing that is because these guys have listened and they've dealt with many different versions of this than you have, so I have to specify to them because it's been a while for all of us to go back to this.
Right.
But what do you think the future holds right now? Because I'm going to ask you this question again later on when we talk. But what do you think the future holds for Cato based on what you've seen so far? Or what we've seen in episode 1. Like, how do you think it's going to happen?
That's hard. That's super hard. I mean, I see, of course, there's just going to be a whole lot of him trying to figure out what he wants to do, really. What is he going to do with this information? Who's he going to let in? How is he going to protect what he feels like he needs to protect? Like, it's all going to be... it's going to be some pretty big decisions he's going to have to make, is what I have in my mind, at least. And so I have no clue really what he's going to have to deal with. No, I'm as on the edge of my seat as I'm sure the listeners are. It's just like, man, where's this going?
Right. Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys, we're going to stop here for you. And I want you to check out the second part of this when it releases, probably in about the next 2 weeks. So when episode 3 drops, you'll definitely hear part 2 to this, because we're going to get into a little bit more with Cato. But until next time, guys, this has been Virtuous Talks, and I'll see you next time.